name is Alicia Shapiro with AInews.com, and welcome to another episode of our Driving Tomorrow Conversations with Industry Leaders, where we explore the latest developments and newest innovations in the world of artificial intelligence. Today, I'm excited to be speaking with Etai Beck, CEO and co founder of Folloze, the company behind the world's first AI powered B2B buyer experience platform. With over 20 years of leadership across the technology industry, including executive roles at Juniper Networks, Etai has a proven track record in product strategy, marketing, and business development, and has dedicated his career to reimagining how companies engage with their customers. Now, as AI fundamentally reshapes the buyer's journey, Folloze is pioneering a new approach with its generator agents, delivering hyper personalized, AI driven buyer experiences at scale. Backed by leading global brands, the platform is tackling one of the biggest challenges in B2B marketing today: how to reach and engage buyers who are bypassing traditional channels and turning to AI tools for guidance. In today's interview, we'll explore what that shift means for B2B marketers, how AI agents are transforming engagement strategies, and what the future of buyer experience will look like in an AI driven world. So, thank you for joining us today, Itai.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad to have you here. B2B marketing is going through a major transformation right now as buyers are moving away from websites and traditional searches on Google. How do you see AI reshaping that buyer's journey today?
The first part is obviously like consumers, also in B2B, we start with an LLM. We believe LLMs, right? We ask a question, we believe every word. It's hard even to expect people to question that.
Yeah.
And that means that we spend a lot more of our time as buyers in the LLM versus going into websites and reading materials and actually inspecting and exploring the original content. So that is a massive change from what we've seen in the past.
Yeah, and we've heard that over 50% of the traffic to websites and a little bit on Google is even declining. So, with buyers relying on those LLMs for product discovery, how big of a challenge is that for marketers and what should they do in response?
I think the number one point is to be far more buyer-centric than ever before. You
Mhm.
have to really adopt an operational mode that brings together immediacy and relevancy at scale. And this has been our kind of a discussion topic with customers many years, but this is not an option anymore. It was in the past. Maybe I'll do personalization next year. Maybe I'll think about using some better signals in order to actually direct it's not an option if you're not really running those new kind of operational methods. You're out of the buyer's eyes. And I always give the simple example where when you're looking for a new car, say you have your eyes on BMW or Tesla, and all of a sudden you see all of them on the freeway, right?
Yeah,
And you don't see anything else. When you're not looking for a car, you just couldn't care less.
right.
And the same thing here, like people are stuck in their LLM bubbles, but at the same time, if they're right now exploring a certain need for whatever is the case, they'll pay attention to, oh, there's a new secure access solution for mid-sized companies. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And sometimes, by the way, people mistakenly think that someone's listening to them, and then all of a sudden they pop up message to them.
Yeah.
Not always the case. There is a lot of that, but not that much. It's much more about just tuning in to a certain topic. So sensing where companies are, buyers, what they're looking for, and being very situational, it is super hard to do with the older practices and playbooks. And that's what marketers need to change dramatically.
Yeah. I'm seeing that too, just in my news world, where I started writing for the LLMs in
Yeah.
terms of my formatting of my articles and things like that. And I have already seen, in just 1 month's time, I've already seen a doubling of my reach and the number of people who are seeing my articles. And that was incredible to me. And I'm like, because it looks really ugly when you're looking at the articles, and you're like, as marketers who have been trained on graphic design and make things pretty for humans just so it'll catch their eyes and stuff, It is a fundamental shift because now you've got to start thinking about AI and start creating content for AI and not necessarily for humans. And it's in order to be discovered and shown different products and recommended by the elements. So it is a fundamental mind shift almost. And marketers are going to have to get used to doing something different, I think.
I think very different. I'm thinking also that the traditional website-centric operation is gone.
Yeah.
It's just gone. Because there's that you mentioned that decline of traffic is going to keep on going, and I believe that eventually, fundamentally, what's happening here is that LLMs actually put themselves in between the visitors and the content publishers, be those brands or be those actual professional publishers, right? And if they put themselves there and there's a zero-click search phenomenon is just getting more and more popular, then it's actually breaking the fundamental trade of the internet. Like, I'm going to produce content for free. I'm going to put my resources into that, and then I'm going to get traffic on the way back. And if that trade doesn't exist anymore, then why create more content? My take on that, I think that the LLMs eventually will probably open up new channels for marketers
Hmm.
that are not existent today because they have to, because otherwise they will dry out the source of their brain.
Yeah.
So they have to keep that play going. So things are going to change continuously over the next 12 to 24 months, easy, because LLMs are going to probably take over more and more of the eyeballs and going to
Mhm.
create more and more different experiences. You saw that Perplexity put a bid on Chrome's
Yeah.
acquisition, right? So they're becoming the front end in front of the browser. Why have a website,
Yeah. It's a good question.
right?
Yeah, because all you need to do is be able to have articles or something, your products out there that AI can easily scan and then they'll recommend it and they're not sending people to your website per se. Yeah.
And but there is another part of it, which is at some point people want to go the next step from LLM to actually inspect something deeper. At that point, the experience that they're expecting is very new. It's not anymore. If I'm going to a website of a large company with 5,000 pages, and that's the order of magnitude of the big ones, right?
Mm,
It's useless. It's useless. I need one page that is rendered for me and I can interact with it and ask questions. That's all I need.
that's true. And I don't want to spend time looking at the other ones either.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a great point. And Folloze recently announced the generator agents. So maybe this is a tool in the marketer's toolbox that they can use because it is a creative tool that'll deliver those personalized experiences at scale.
yeah,
Can you explain more about the generator agents and what they do and why they
yeah,
represent such an important shift?
yeah, totally. Thank you for the opportunity to explain that. We're seeing like three major waves of change in the next, I would say, 12 to 24 months. Wave number one is self-productivity and operational productivity. It's actually two parts of the same wave.
Mhm.
Second one is personalization at scale. And the last one is the complete new buyer experience that we just talked about, right? We're aligned ourselves into that journey and committed ourselves to provide what our customers need at every single step of that change. It is very hard for customers, for all of us, to actually modify ourselves into becoming like an AI centric on internal processes.
Yeah.
So the first thing first, we saw that companies have created a lot of encouragement for their people to use AI tools, ChatGPT and Claude and Perplexity and a variety of other like video tools and imagery tools and all kinds of stuff to become just more self-productive. That created in turn a new crisis. Now I have 500 different tools, and then I need to bring them all together in the context of a certain motion I want to run.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we built here. So when you create a follows page for a top of funnel campaign, for a event, for a sales engagement, for whatever is the case, you want to create a storyline. You want to build a story that is highly relevant and personalized for the moment, for the person, for the account, for the moment at scale. And if you go back and forth with all those different tools and say, I'm bringing some copy from here and a video from there and an image from there, you have to stitch it all together.
Hmm.
In some ways, this productivity became a non-productivity.
Mm.
So what we build with the Folloze agent is that you can actually tell Folloze, hey, I need to run a campaign on this audience, and this is my storyline. So just build it for me. And then it puts it into the right places. When web pages are built, you have like different sections that are like wide and maybe carousels and all kinds of different structures. And then you want to put everything there in the right format, the right number of characters, the right font size. So we built the whole thing in a way that is structured to go. You
Nice.
need a video. You build a video on the fly. You need to translate it to Portuguese. We can do it on the fly. Everything is just very iterative, very fast. And that takes that operational revolution into process level at this first. So going from a self productivity to team and process level productivity, that's the first step. And the next step after that is personalization at scale.
And that's one of the hardest problems in B2B has
Yeah.
been scaling the personalization without burning through a ton of resources. So
Yeah.
how do AI agents change that equation from frontline marketers and go-to-market teams?
So personalization has been a desired outcome for so many years, right?
Yeah.
Our platform has an engine for personalization that is based on B2B data, firmographics, and
Mm.
demographics and stage of deals and whatever. We had that for a while. But what's really interesting right now is the ability to connect between new and modern signals out there. Like you can have web scrapers that actually find much more accurate context per account and person, and then attach it to a story. And to do that in every touch point across the entire funnel. That's new. And then personalization becomes both at the creation step, that's the generator AI, what that does. But also when people start interacting with your content, the ability to sense that and dynamically keep on featuring more and relevant content based on how the account, not only the person, but the account behaves. That is creation personalization that was never possible before. So that's the next step. So we kind of are tapping into both of these stages, like the creation and the personalization at scale. We've always been doing that with a no code and rule-based personalization. Now we actually made it all AI based.
Yeah. And I would think with the AI, it can sort through that data faster and easier than what it would take for a marketer to get through all that information. And then to be able to show your product or whatever at the right time, that's invaluable. Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually impossible to do it in any human way because if you need to actually tailor something for, I know, even 100 accounts, and I know 5 contacts per each account, each one of them, a little bit of different industry, a little bit of different situation. That person, this is what they like, those like, the problem, the situation is slightly different. You get to thousands of different permutations super fast. There's
Yeah.
no human way to do it.
No.
Yeah.
And to have it just deliver it, that's amazing. Yeah,
Yep.
that's so cool. Another big, huge fundamental shift for marketers that they're going to have to get their head wrapped around is your website says the marketing funnel is dead. And marketers have been using that funnel for years to try to figure out where the buyer is on their journey and be able to offer the product at just the right time, like we've talked about. But I saw on your website that immediate relevance is the new strategy. So, what does that mean in practice for marketing teams trying to engage buyers right now?
I think first thing is that buying is a chaos, right? It actually was never really linear, right? It was
Mm,
always like, just think about the dynamic of this. Someone is searching for a certain solution, whatever business problem that they need to, and then they tell someone else in the company that, oh, I just saw this, whatever. And then they start going into the website, and then there's an executive discussion. So someone goes into the website or somewhere else, and they're seeing an ad. These all different points contribute together to an opinion that is getting formed behind the scenes.
mhm,
That's not linear, was never linear. And the whole attempt to actually make it force a linear funnel on it was never right. We were always way overly lead centric.
mhm,
And that's a very lagging indicator that doesn't really tell the right story.
hmm,
So being able to be there in the moment and understanding like through much deeper engagement metrics of what is it that people and accounts are really looking for and then respond to that on the fly based on the situation, click from an ad, visit to the website, open an email, and click through. Being able to be situational, that's the new world. And people are actually making opinion. We live in a such a noisy digital environment that people are making all kinds of opinions based on who knows what, and we see it in there are quite a lot of negative implications of that. But as brands, we want to actually influence in the right direction. So we need to abandon that kind of a linear fashion and
Hmm.
think about that situational.
You're right, because some people are just ready to buy. Like they don't need an educational process. They don't need an educational awareness. They're like, "Oh, this is what it does. Great, sign me up." And so they're coming into the funnel in different ways and different
Yeah,
spots. And so the immediate relevance seems much more effective, I would think, in being able to meet people where they are and give them that personalization. So I think
totally.
that is spot on. It
I
is
would.
hard to wrap your brain around, but yeah.
It is hard. You know what? I can tell that the common mistakes we're seeing is that even if we're very known to be an ABM centric platform, which is still very much the correct, right? And it's going to remain that because people in B2B buy in groups and they're not buying as individual. And you still want to be surrounding accounts in all these different channels and all these different touch points and create like a more of an accumulating certain influence. And some people are behind, some people are more advanced, someone there could be someone that already has an opinion on something and another person in the team that is behind, they need to learn. So really have to kind of entertain all those different touch points. So that's not any much gone, right? By no means. What we are seeing a lot of times is that people, even if they're thinking ABM, they're doing mostly like targeted ads at the top of the funnel,
Right.
and they're landing people directly on a lead capture form, and they're expecting that to work for them into pipeline. And that's just not fit how buyers buy. They
Hmm.
may see an ad, they may even click on it, and then they may be just ready to explore a bit. And you don't want to give them too much. And maybe if they're further down the road, then so there's some sort of a journey there is still there, but it's very unpredictable. So you want to really be putting much more emphasis on the education, the inspiration, the excitement, the influence, and not be overly obsessed with capturing leads at the far end. That has to change in my mind fundamentally.
I think you're right. And with so much automation, measuring success, like we were talking about, can be tricky. So, how do you recommend marketers track ROI and know when their AI powered engagement strategies are really working?
You know what marketers hate? The main word they hate is attribution.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to talk about attribution. It is very complex because of that complexity of the buying process. How do you really attribute it to what, right?
Yeah.
So you have to develop some metrics of engagement and influence that are accepted by all parties that are involved,
Hmm.
sales, marketing, even customer success, CEO. And there are ways to measure them. We've all seen impressions, clicks, and email opens, right? That's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
That's gone. Who cares about impressions and who cares about email opens? There are like all kinds of different security systems that open email, right?
Mhm.
But when you actually can identify, oh, that's a real person that is not a bot that landed on a page and they viewed this asset for 25 seconds and this one for 15 more seconds. And this asset is about topics 1 to 3, and this is about 3 and 4, that can start building an actual insight of what's going on here. And I can turn that into a signal that I can move from position to position.
The cookies and stuff still involved in this process, or is that gone too?
I think the third party cookie exchange, that's the difficulty. But the first party cookies are not in much of danger in my mind. There is like, of course, there's privacy rules that everyone needs to go through,
Right.
and they're more tougher than before. So sometimes people go anonymized for longer and it's more difficult to identify them. But there are counter methods of measuring people and accounts specifically based on all kinds of other heuristics.
And looking ahead, where do you see AI taking B2B marketing in the next couple of years? What role will agents play in shaping that buyer experience for the future?
Yeah, it depends on how far we go. If we go to the point where websites become what we mentioned at the very beginning, they just disappear. At some point, people will not even go to any website. It's going to be just agent to agent.
Yeah.
And in which case, I have my buyer agent that talks with your seller agent, and they reach a certain understanding, and then all I need to do is to make a decision at the far end. In some cases, it's going to happen. I think that might be the far end. In the middle of in between this and that, I believe that LLMs are going to create opportunities for marketers that are not there before, like channels that are not there before. So we need to really stay tuned to that and just keep on changing. That's pretty key. And I believe that we need to really make sure that our experiences that we provide to the scarce moments that people do come to engage with our brand, they are right on, highly relevant and interactive
Yeah.
in ways that, and it's not all the chatbots that would just, hi, how are you, and when can I book a meeting with you?
Yeah. That's right. There's a lot for marketers to keep their eye on in the next couple of years, that's for sure. If you had to offer one piece of advice, what would you say to marketers?
One is get your hands dirty,
Mm.
all levels, from top to bottom. If you're at an executive level, encourage your team, do a contest
Oh.
of whoever brings more creativity in using AI. That's step number one. Step number two, let it mature and start changing your processes, and then really start thinking about the personalization, the relevance, how you change your buyer interactions. That's kind of for the next level up. So three phases.
Mhm.
One thing I would not do right now is I would not re-platform completely my gigantic website, and
Mm.
you can get caught into a very difficult situation where you're investing a lot of time and money into a process that was gonna yield return in 2, 3 years out. I don't think anyone has the luxury to do it right now.
That's important to know. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right. Why spend all this money on something that we don't even know if it's going to happen yet?
yeah.
Exactly. Wow. And before we wrap up, I always love to ask, when you do step away from your work, what are some activities or hobbies you're passionate about?
Number one hobby, I love physics. I learn a lot, study a lot. I'm actually about to, first time I say that, but I'm about to publish a book about quantum mechanics.
Oh, fun.
Yes, I'm trying to bring that scientific thing down to everyone's understanding. It's a very exciting area. And outside of that, I drum once in a while.
Oh,
I have a drum set, and then spending time with family and friends. That's it.
thank you, Etai,
Great.
for
Thank you.
joining us today and your insights in how AI is reshaping the buyer's journey and how Folloze is enabling marketers to meet those buyers with immediate personalized relevance. It's just so incredibly valuable. And I know there's a lot more to dig into, but I know this is going to help give our audience a clearer vision of what the future of B2B marketing tools is going to look like. So
Yeah,
just thank you so much for coming on and explaining this a little bit.
for sure. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah. And for those of you who want to learn more about Folloze and its AI powered buyer experience platform, you can visit their website at folloze.com, keeping you connected to tomorrow. Today, this is Alicia with AInews.com.